Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
To all of y'all, welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to welcome you to a mindfulness magnificent Monday, y'all. I'm so excited. My first guest in the building, we got Heru TchaasAmen back in the building for another Mindfulness Monday segment. He is a Qigong instructor who's going to be telling us all about the amazing classes he is bringing down there to Pier 62 at the waterfront. And later on in the show, we got Shaquan Smith, who's a strategic advisor and planner with Seattle Parks and Rec. We're going to be following up with him about the community fund. So I'm really excited that he's here to give us an update on that. But of course, you all know it's the top of the show, so we get to have y'all participate with us. Go ahead and share this show with folks who you feel could benefit from this daily dose of dopeness we work to give you here on the Day with Trae. And if you can't watch us, you can always listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network in the Day with Trae. You'll find me wherever you find your favorite podcast show. Shout out to our whole podcast team for making sure the audio is crisp for all of y'all out there. So glad that y'all are also sharing the podcast with folks who love podcasts. You know, if they're just trying to get a daily dose, you know, of dopeness right here. So thanks so much to everybody out there who's listening. Well, we got a packed show today. When we have two guests, I love to get right into it. Up next, we got Heru TchaasAmen in the building. Hi.
Peace. How you doing, Trae?
I'm well. How are you?
You know, diviner and diviner every day.
Yeah, that's the way to be. Now, this is exciting. We haven't had you on the show for a while, and we've been missing our Mindfulness Monday. So I'm glad that you're here because you now have a series of classes that's happening at Pier 62 at the waterfront, and you're bringing Qigong to new audiences. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, teamed up with Friends of the Waterfront again. We're down there on Pier 62. It's beautiful down there. They're restoring the pier. They're building some beautiful buildings, nice and secure space right next to the water where healing happens. I'm doing a series of 4 classes. So we have a few more classes left on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. It's really phenomenal because we're reaching out to a lot of the people who live on the waterfront. I had some people that walked right across the street, have people that are coming as far away as Everett and things in Tacoma to show up as well to interact. We're working with stress and we're giving away some free healing down there. So it's wonderful to hold space in the middle of downtown Seattle or down in the Pier Seattle and to share, you know, healing.
You know, this is the second year, right, that you're doing this. You were able to start last year and provide some instruction for folks on the pier. But there is something special about it too, right? Because we're talking about, you said it, you know, water, where a lot of healing happens. And there's a beautiful scene where people can really get into that serene nature that Qigong does. How are people experiencing these classes so far?
Oh my gosh, some of the students have walked up in tears, tears of joy, which is wonderful to see. Having got over or seen revelations in the middle of the practice, you know, feeling energy move as well as kind of changing their dynamic, you know, have been looking for classes for so long and to be offered right there in that space that's so vibrant is extraordinary. But we're seeing people get over anxiety, you know, relieve stress, you know, just remove tension for the day, even if it's just the day. But what's wonderful about Qigong is that when you start that healing process, it begins to continue. Mm-hmm. And so it carries on into the rest of your day, the rest of your week and stuff, and it just builds on itself. It's beautiful to watch.
Well, you know, I get to practice Qigong with you, and I'll say that as someone who's been practicing for some time, there are these amazing benefits that happen over the course of time. And it wasn't until probably recently that I was like, whoa, I'm experiencing something during the practice. And then because I keep doing it, I'm having this higher level of attention for me that is connecting what I'm doing there during the class to the other ways that it manifests in my life. And you're right, when it comes to, you know, how you deal with what folks consider to be stress, or how you're dealing with kind of like challenging or opportunity type of situations in your life. You know, there's a lot that comes back to the breath.
Right.
And you've talked about this on the show before, the importance of the breath, and guiding newer students, especially through just connecting with the breath. And it's something that you do during these classes where you say, hey, even if you can't do the move, you focus back on the breath. Tell us about that focus and why it's so important.
Well, everything is centered around the breath, right? The way that we respond to stress is centered around the breath. When we feel stress impacted, we start to breathe different. So we initially start by just simply closing the mouth and asking students to place their tongue tip at the upper gum line behind the two front teeth and just to begin to breathe. And you can feel the calm set over the area in the field of practice, but even around the larger area. It's like the world gets quiet. You can then tap into some very, very deep intuition, right? Understanding how to navigate some life's decisions, but it calms the brain. It releases serotonin into the bloodstream. It activates, your healing and your detoxification of your body as well. So it's wonderful to begin just breathing through the nose. We practice so often breathing through the mouth, and when you talk to people, when they're in panic, they're, hey, how you doing? Oh my God, but once that person begins to close their mouth and center the breath, then they feel and sense that peace and allows them to open up to possibilities of change and growth.
It's amazing. And, it's something so simple because we all have to breathe in order to be living. But it's also that there's an intentionality behind it that can change your perspective or perception on certain things just by being able to be centered in the breath. But also, too, there's something I want to talk about that I don't know we've breached before, which is, just kind of demystifying some things around practices like Qigong, right? You're moving, people see you in the park and you're moving, like basically it looks like you're moving through the air and some slow, intentional movements, right? And so people are like, I don't know if that's doing anything, but I can attest, y'all, one time, and I'm telling y'all, one time, you were on the cement at a park and you were doing Qigong. It was not wet at all. It was dry. It was a sunny day. You were on the cement. And when you walked away from the cement, your feet prints were in the cement as if you had just stepped in water and printed your feet there.
Right.
And you were like, whoa, I was really maneuvering some chi today.
Right.
And I remember being like, oh, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I want to keep doing this because I want to leave my feet prints in the dry cement. So there really is it's not just moving through the air. There's some intentional energy that's happening. And I will never forget that because I was right there and it was dry beforehand. Right. And then you stepped away and I was like, your feet are right there. It was amazing.
Yeah, and it wasn't sweaty feet too. I had shoes on.
You had shoes on, yeah.
Just
shoes,
want to clarify
y'all.
that.
Yeah. It was literally, you're bringing the energy up and all of the movements really are gearing people to understand that is connecting to that oneness in the movement. Just tell us a bit about the mechanics of that. How can that even happen?
These movements have been around for 3,500 years. They're tried and true. This is the oldest form of energy work known to man, right? This precedes Reiki. This precedes, a lot of the practices, Tai Chi and things like that. Qigong was was the first, right? When they began to study movements and how to take the life force and move it through the internal organ system, to share it with others, to healing. This is about, laying on of hands. This is about, really sending your energy, life force to another person, projecting that. Right? These movements have been practiced for centuries, thousands of years, in order to perfect them. And so when we tie that together with the breath work, with the proper intentionality around mindfulness, right? We really concentrate that energy. We concentrate it within us. We concentrate it within our shared experience. So the chi field, the collective chi field increases as well. And we gain access to information and energy, intuition, power from the universe itself. We're tapped into that sequence of power. And so now we can share it, right? We share in it, it begins to transform our internal organs. We see growth in the brain even from it. We see what happens with the body as well. There's scientific reasons and values. There's numerous books written on the value of Qigong in a historical text.
It's quite phenomenal, and the practice has really done a lot for me. Of course, I got to give you time because as folks out there may want to be connecting, you do offer these classes. They're free to the public. Yeah. You get to look right there and let them know how they show up at your next class down at Pier 62.
Next class, Pier 62, we're there on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. You can register right there. You can also link up with me, Heru Nefer, Runefer. It means good day, have a good day. But look for me on Instagram. All the information is in my bio. Follow me, message me, and let's interact online. Love to see you there.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Great to have you back. Thanks so much for
good.
coming.
Stop ducking me. I'm loving being here.
We got you. Wow, y'all. What a great way to start off this Monday with some amazing mindfulness. We have missed it for sure. And of course, we want y'all to check out those Qigong classes down there at Pier 62 and connect with Heru Nefer at Heru Nefer right there on Instagram. So make sure you connect with Heru TchaasAmen. Y'all, I'm excited because we get actually an update from Seattle Parks and Rec. Up next, we got Shaquan Smith in the building. We're going to be learning all about how community members can now vote on projects that they want to see happening in their parks. You definitely don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Hey. United Business Connections, 3rd annual back to school function, pop-up shopping, and resource fair. Saturday, August 31st, 2024, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Live DJ with live performances. We have a petting zoo, healthcare information, job opportunities. We're giving away free backpacks. Sponsored by Arms Around You, 11805 Britton Avenue South, Seattle, Washington, 98178. Stop the gun violence.
The importance to share the history of the Buffalo Soldiers of Seattle and Buffalo Soldiers of everywhere, including cowboys and cowgirls of color everywhere, is really important because most likely they're forgotten. It's important that they're acknowledged, especially for girls like me who look up to them.
At a rodeo, it's got an impact on people when they see somebody doing something like that, especially a person of color, you know what I mean? It's got a big impact on people, I think.
Representing the Evergreen State, I am your Miss Teen Rodeo Washington, Jessa Thomas. Welcome to the Windswept Farm.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now, we got Shaquan Smith in the building. What's up, Shaquan?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. It's good to have you back.
Same. I'm glad to be here.
I really just want to say, first off, let me appreciate you for keeping to your word to make sure you come back to give us an update on the community fund that Seattle Parks and Rec is doing. This is a really phenomenal effort that's happening right here, but just give us some baseline in case some folks maybe missed your other interview.
Oh yeah, definitely. So the last time I was here, we were just launching the program. So essentially the program in itself focused on frontline communities, which I said our Black communities, Indigenous communities, communities of color, people with disabilities, a lot of the communities who are typically marginalized or vulnerable, as a lot of people like to say. And we said we took the term frontline because we don't want, as we're experiencing this program with these type of communities, it's not always encouraging to say like, oh, you're marginalized, you're vulnerable. So we say frontline because frontline one, these are the communities on the front line of a lot of these impacts, but these are the frontline communities of change. And a lot of the impacts and a lot of the innovative changes that's happening around our communities and within our cities and states coming from these communities themselves. So essentially the projects are all parks and recreation, for the most part, have to be capital improvement projects. The last time we was here, we collected over 240 something ideas during our idea collection process. So it's been a lot of work that we've been doing since then. And we're now at a stage now where our community selection process, where we narrow down those 240 something ideas to 27. Wow. And we didn't do that by ourselves. We did that with community. We have our community partners, such as African Community Housing and Development, Hip Hop is Green, Marriage Place Seattle, Lake City Collective, Rainy Beach Action Coalition, and there's some others I'm sure I'm probably missing, China Refugee Community as well as our board of Park and Rec commissioners and our staff. We wanted to make this a joint effort and actually a true partnership with community and our staff to kind of work together on a process like this and make sure it is community led. Yeah. So we're now in a stage now where we're going back out to community for this month of August to kind of have community select our top 3 projects within our region. So we kind of divided out our 27 projects in different regions. We have North, South, Central, and West. And we also have citywide projects as well. So yeah, that's why we're here today.
Well, it's a lot, honestly. And, it's great that y'all got that much engagement from community to share ideas, because I think that's where oftentimes the effort to be community driven is the toughest, right? Is people have been like, man, y'all asked me again, and I don't know what you're going to do with this information. So I'm glad that y'all actually had that much engagement and were able to whittle it down to these 27 projects. When you look at them, give us kind of a glimpse of what types of projects people are trying to see happen in their parks.
So we have some amazing projects that's going to be very difficult in this process of like determining which gets selected, but I'll give a few examples. I'll say in the Central District itself, there's an amazing project that came forward. It's a combination of multiple project ideas around how the title of the project is more so on the Black Legacy Park Project Master Plan. And essentially it's tackling not one park or one project, but basically a lot of the projects here in Seattle that's in the Central District that have been a staple within the Black community, basically creating a whole master plan around them to make sure they maintain the legacy. These are parks like William Groves Park, Paul Barnett Park, and also Sam Smith and a few others as well. But it's really putting a light on these to really make sure they're maintained just as much as some of these larger parks in Seattle that the tourists go to and so forth. It's like, why can't that happen here in the Central District? So that's one amazing project I'm personally excited for if that gets selected. But also too, especially on the Southeast side, there's a lot of need and concerns around having basketball courts that are covered. You know, in the summertime, it's great to use the basketball courts, and that's great. But like, what happens during our rainy days or the wintertime? Where do kids go to utilize those basketball courts? Then they're heavily underutilized. So what we're trying to do is having shelters that can be covered and they can be utilized year round for people in the high schools to still be able to use these basketball courts no matter what season it is.
Yeah, that's important too. I think also because it's been known in many cultures to be a great pastime for young folks. And we're always talking about, we go back to like, okay, when we were going outside to play, my parents used to be like, go outside, you go play. Well, the parks were available to us, right? Like they were clean, they were fun for us. We felt like those spaces were built for us as young people. And I think there's a really great need right now to like, not just like clean up the parks, but it's like, make it useful again and make it year round. We know what we're dealing with here in terms of the weather and the changing of the weather in the Pacific Northwest. So really making sure that those spaces are, available to young folks all throughout the year and the older folks too, right? Because a lot of people love a good pickup game. So I love hearing these projects. Now, what does the rest of this process look like, right? I mean, how do you get the word out for people to know now is my turn to use my voice in this next phase of the project? Yeah,
so to get the word out is the reason why we're here today. So we're trying to touch base with a few different media outlets or other community organizations as well that's really tapped in to community. And when I say community, I'm talking about our frontline community specifically, a lot of our Black and Brown communities. And right now is this time. So you can participate either in person or online. If you go on our website, which is like bit.ly, you go like Park Community Fund Selection or Park Community Fund. Essentially, you can participate on our online platform or in person. We have a few more events coming up. We have a big day of play event, which happens every year with Seattle Parks and Recreation, which will be in a Rainier Playfield, 12 to 5, if I'm not mistaken, on August 17th. And then we have another big event out in Rainier Beach at the Bereshiva Park. That will be happening for the Back to School Bash. That's hosted by Rainier Beach Action Coalition, and that will be on the 24th. And there's also an annual grill-off at Bereshiva Park as well on the 22nd, hosted by Link to Lake. So we'll be there at those 3 events, and then like I say, you can always participate online. And we're still sharing out to other community organizations and outlets, so if anyone knows, feel free to reach out to us as well at parkcommunityfund@seattle.gov. And we're always here to communicate and touch base wherever we can.
Well, I'm so glad that you were here to give us this update. This is one where I think a lot of people don't recognize the loss that we have in parks because people stop focusing on them. So the idea is that this is very intentional. I love this frontline communities. I mean, I think our language is always evolving, right? We're trying to find ways to say Black and Brown communities without saying Black and Brown communities oftentimes because we're limited in terms of like how we can utilize funding in that way. So understanding it as frontline communities and not using the disparaging language, right? Around, disadvantaged and, all of the negative stereotypes that even if they're true, that's not how anyone wants to be characterized. So I really appreciate that change there. And I definitely appreciate you coming back to give us some insight on this, because again, I think if we don't focus on this, we go back to a park and we go, wait a minute, why did they change this? Well, now is the time to utilize the voice. So Shaquan, thanks so much for being back and keeping us updated, I'm excited to have you come back and share once we've gotten down to the finals or the final ones are chosen, and we can, celebrate how we're going to see these funds being utilized for our parks. Absolutely.
No, definitely. And I said, so around October timeframe is usually when we're expecting at this point to be able to announce what gets selected. So I would love to come back again and share what's actually happening and be able to move this forward for the community. So I really appreciate the time here. And with you all, I would love to come back anytime.
Oh, thank you so much, Shaquan. We appreciate you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, y'all. What a great Monday. I'm going to wrap all this up right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Hey, everybody. This is DJ OG1, co-founder of Portland's Hip Hop Week celebration, August 20th through the 26th. An entire week of celebrating the culture. And we have a special event called Hip Hop Wine and Chill, where we'll be celebrating and honoring Seattle's own Converge Media, Beza Gordon, and Amari Salisbury. Portland Hip Hop Week, August 20th through the 26th. For more information, log on to pdxhiphopweek.com.
The comedy of Leslie Jones.
You trying to have sex after 46? Put my leg down! Put my leg down!
The hilarious Leslie Jones.
I got osteoporosis.
Don't miss Leslie Jones.
Thank you so much.
Disenrollment is a situation whereby people whose birthright to be indigenous is being stolen from them by politicians that have been elected to lead.
Today, the latest or last chapter of the saga concerns the threatened physical ejectment of as many as 21 Nooksack families from their homes.
I think it come about by hatred for our family. That's what it's all about.
Our bloodline is still here. They can't get rid of us.
Welcome back, y'all, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Huge shout out to my guest today, getting our week started off all the way right. Thank you so much to Heru TchaasAmen for being here and bringing Qi healing and Qigong to the waterfront and beyond. Make sure y'all tap in at Heru Nefer on Instagram and find out where he's doing these amazing free Qigong classes. And also a huge shout out to Shaquan Smith for being here and giving us an update on the community fund, Community Fund, with Seattle Parks and Rec, and how they have whittled down from 240 different park ideas down to 27. And now is the time for you to participate, utilize your voice, and go and check out how to vote on your top 3 projects that you want to see happen in your community. Y'all, I'm just grateful because, of course, what they've done for me today is started us off in the right direction when it comes to being inspired. Oftentimes we see a lot of people doing what they love in their jobs, but we also sometimes see people doing what they don't love. So I love to be able to spotlight folks who are enjoying what they do and how they're connecting with community in such an intentional way that it's felt from community. We need more people in roles that are saying, I'm not only going to just do this for a paid class with Qigong, I'm going to open this up to everyone. I want people to experience this healing, right? And it takes a bunch of money to get the licenses and to become an instructor to do this. But instead of structuring it as only a business, Heru TchaasAmen said, let me make sure I got something for the people, and I'm bringing that to the people. And then you got somebody like Shaquan Smith who's working through Seattle Parks and Rec to really beautify, uplift, and maintain the parks that we have in some tremendous ways that are driven by community voice. I mean, these are the kind of projects that we want to be able to support in our communities because it is important for us to be community driven and focused. And that's why it's so important for you to tap in to this amazing opportunity to share your voice in this project. I want to thank y'all for being with me today, and I really hope that you were feeling the inspiration that I was feeling right here in the Black Media Matters studio, because it was abounding on this Monday, getting me going for the rest of the week. Thank y'all so much for watching. You know I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, at 11 a.m., y'all. Peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.